Welcome to the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am your host, Michelle Berman-Michael, and my mission with this podcast is simple: to help realtors and loan officers across the world tap into the value Instagram can have for them and their business. To me, organic business that comes to us is the name of the game. On this show, you're going to hear from myself, other experts across social media, and also others that are just like you, selling real estate and doing loans and doing it at a high level on social media. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Coffee and Questions podcast. I am super excited about this episode. This woman is amazing. She is a jack of all trades, doing all the things, mom life, work life, all of it. Just an all-around mom boss, if you ask me. I am super excited to have Jackie Durbin on the podcast with me. She is the founder of kvCore Coaching. She is also the founder of Rewire, Retreat for Women in Real Estate. And she's also a joint partner in the D team with her husband, Chris. So when I say jack of all trades, I'm pretty sure that that is very accurate. But Jackie, I'm so excited to have you. If you would, please tell my audience a little bit about you, how you got started, and just what people need to know about Jackie.
So I'm Jackie Durbin. I always start with this. I'm a mom of 4. And the reason why is because I feel like that's my biggest accomplishment. People always ask, like, what's your biggest accomplishment? I'm like, I have 4 amazing kids that are really freaking cool. So yes, I'm a mom of 4. I am a retired teacher. I was actually teaching 4th and 5th graders for the past 20 years. And then I decided when COVID happened that I really needed to focus on my own children. I watched, like most parents, their kids just kind of like going into a shell during that time. And I said, there has to be a different way. So I always was licensed, and my husband was a full-time agent. And I said, hey, what do you think about me leaving teaching and going full-time? And he was like, no. And I'm like, well, I don't like that answer. And I'm not someone who takes no for an answer at all. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go over your head. So that night I kneeled down like any good Christian woman would. And I am Christian, but I cuss a little. So I kneeled down. I'm like, God, I think my kids, my own children, my flesh and blood really need me more. And I know that if that is what you want me to do, you're going to make it happen. And in that next quarter, my husband's business quadrupled. And when I say quadrupled. And so I went back to my husband. I was like, hey, I know you said no, but God said yes. And this is what he just did. And my husband's like, okay. And so 2021 was my last year of teaching. So I'm going into my second full year of real estate. I thought it would be real flexible. It's not flexible. Like flexible meaning like, can you do 7 things all at one time? Flexible. So in my first 6 months, I closed 8 transactions and figured that, hey, this is not really my jam. I feel like I'm more busy. I'm away from my family more. And so I said, there has to be a shift. And that's when, because of the brokerage that I was aligned with, kvCore was the CRM that they used. And because I had a background in education, I thought, this is great. If I know anything, it's how to teach people. And so I mastered kvCore, learned everything that I could, not just like how to do things, but how to use it in practical application. Because again, past teacher, the kids ask, how am I going to use this? Why do I have to know this? When am I going to use this in the real world? And so that's how I really put myself in a different spot than other kvCore coaches. Not that I'm the best. Well, I kind of am, but I just took a different approach to it. Right. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I got started.
I think most people on the real estate side, even on the mortgage side, really both, doesn't really matter. The reality is that social media is something that people think they have to put a lot of money into in order to see a return. And you and I are both shining images of that not being true. But I really love how you position things on Instagram specifically, which in my network, people obviously know that I love Instagram more than any other platform, but giving away stuff for free, I think has a power there. So when you're posting on social media, specifically Instagram, how are you positioning that freeness that you can share without sounding salesy? I think is a good way of asking that.
I think on social media, and here's my thing, people fuss about social media all the time, the algorithm this, the algorithm that. I'm like, you're right. You get to be in front of millions of people and you're for free and you're mad because some people didn't like it. Not everyone's going to like you. You are not everyone's cup of tea. However, what I have learned through mistakes, because I think that's the best way that we learn, is the relationship And the power of that relationship happens in the DMs. Now, does that mean that you should like go out and like send a direct message? Hey girl, I sell kvCore. You should buy it. No, no one's going to like that. They're going to block you, unfollow you, and not talk to you.
Yep.
So what you do is you're intentional with your messages. Whenever I put out content, whether it's, you know, a video talking about like how to parent a child on the spectrum, or, you know, how to plan a vacation for a child who has diabetes, or something about kvCore or real estate, people who engage, and guys, it doesn't have to be 100 people. It could be the 2 people that liked it, and one of them was your mama, and the other one was someone that was a stranger. You message them and you say, thank you so much for engaging on my post about blah, blah, blah. What was something that you took away from it? That does 2 things. It validates the person. Now they're going to be more likely to ask you questions when they have it, because you're a real person.
Yep.
And the second thing is you're listening to what they need. And it's going to help you create the content that people want to see. Because if one person says they like it, guess what? Other people probably like it.
Yeah. And just because you only got 2 likes doesn't mean that there weren't hundreds and hundreds of other people that saw it. It just means that only 2 people took the time to double tap it. This literally just happened this morning. You know, I have a team of 9 girls across the country, and one of them said something to me about one of our clients who, in addition to what she's paying us, right, to help her build all of her content, we do all of her engagement, all of the things. She hired some random off the internet to send followers and likes to her content. I about, like, excuse my French, but I about shit my pants at the thought of that, right? Because the reality
for it
is you, and this for her, right? For this particular client, like, she's way too focused on vanity, way too focused on perception of, well, if so-and-so sees that, are they going to think differently of me? And the reality is no, they're not. Nobody cares about any of that. And what you just said is the power is what's happening in your DMs and what's happening every morning when you wake up and you open Instagram, like what's happening on your account. And I love the way that you said it. And you said one thing very specific that I don't even know if you meant to say it, but you did, which is every initial message that you send to someone ends in a question, every single one of them. And it's a who, it's a what, it's a how, it's some form of value. One of our favorite ways of doing it is nostalgia. So like, let's say somebody posted something in their stories, and it brings up a childhood memory, or it makes you think of something that you've done recently, or it's like, oh my gosh, I wish I could. Addressing that and then asking a question with it is the fastest way to open the door for true and genuine conversation with someone. Because if someone feels seen or feels heard, or as you said, validated, then you end it in the form of a question. I don't know if you can speak to this, but the length of the messages that you get back are wildly different. Like, people are all of a sudden going to start opening up without even really realizing that they are. They're just going to feel comfortable in doing so.
Yeah. And I don't know if you do this, but like in my direct messages, a lot of times I'll do an audio message. So that way they hear my voice.
Yeah.
And that started because of my husband and I. We do not text with words because tone cannot be read in a text message. But if he says, can you go grab some milk? On audio, that's one way. But if he put it in a text, I'm gonna be like, do you think I really have time? But if I hear his voice, it just, like, and that's really not the best example. Like, he'll never ask me to go get milk. But still, I feel like sometimes you have to do that. Also a video. And people are so scared of getting on video. People are like, oh, I can't get on video. You realize you're going to see these people, right? Like, what, you gonna wear a costume? They're going to see your face. And you're just get on there and be like, hello, I'm an actual person. It's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for doing this. And now they feel connected with you. Like, you don't become friends with someone with never seeing them face to face. And people are always like, oh, well, that might sound creepy. Who cares? If they're creeped out by that, they're not my ideal client. Like the whole, and I think that goes into like a scarcity mindset where people are very fearful. And then like you had talked about the likes and stuff, dude, imposter syndrome is a real thing. Okay.
Absolutely.
And there
1000%.
are things. Yep. And there are things that you can do on your social media to hide the likes, because everyone's like, oh, I need to go viral. I need to go viral. No, you don't.
Nope.
Why do you want to go viral? You have the right letter, the wrong word. You have to provide value, because it could be one person that you provide that value to that changes them. And guess what? Have you seen the ripple effect? Like the ripple effect is a real thing. When someone sees something, guess what they do? They share it with somebody else. Everybody does that on social media. Okay. You witness something, it teaches you something, you share it with someone else. There's a reason why that little bookmark thing is there and the little arrow is there, because the platform knows if you see something, you want to save it so that way you can come back to it, or you can share it with someone else. When you see those, if I see one of those on any post, I'm like, good job, nailed it. And if I didn't, then you know what? That's okay. Then I ask on my story, hey guys, I've been posting some of this content and I'm not getting a lot of engagement. What would you all like to see instead? Because and now you have to understand though, opinions are like buttholes, okay? Everybody has one and some of them stink more than others. So don't get caught up in somebody's, bad day. But it's okay to ask people, hey, what do y'all want to see?
I always say prospecting at scale, right? So Instagram for me personally as a business owner is prospecting at scale. Without a question, it's the same for you. But realtors specifically, if we're talking at them, because that's your primary audience, right? They look at, I need as many leads as possible. The more leads I have, the better. And I think that that's the wrong way of looking at their business. And I tell them all the time. Spending money on Facebook ads does a couple of things. One, you're going to generate cold leads, which most likely that same lead has given their exact information to 5, 7, 10 more other people similar to you. So there's a better way of doing Facebook ads, in my opinion, based solely off retargeting, which we don't have time to get into, which is how we do it, right? I don't spend $1 on cold lead traffic at all, zero. So my point that I'm trying to make here is realtors like leads. So they like the vanity of, I got 100 leads this week. But what if we said, instead of trying to do the same thing on Instagram, going viral, I want 5,000 video views on my video, right? How about we change the topic of conversation here, or even the end goal of the effort? If I wanted to just go get 100 leads, I could easily go do that. I don't want 100 leads. What do I want? I want 5 that are going to pick up the phone and have a 30 to an hour conversation with me and actually take action. I want those 5 people that are so excited to talk to me on the phone that we talk for 30 minutes to an hour. We set up a Zoom meeting and next thing you know, they're writing me a check. That's what I want. So if we're agents looking at using Instagram, let's not focus on virality, because what's the point of that? Like, oh, cool, I got 5,000 video views, but did you get $1 out of that? The reality is probably not, right? So my question to you, because I really want to know how you do this for your business specifically. So you obviously are a vendor, you're selling a product or a course, or someone can hire you to come teach or speak. So that is selling yourself, essentially. How do you prospect? What does prospecting look like for you on the day-to-day? If you're using Instagram, like when you wake up in the morning, you're like, what's my intention behind my day here?
Well, there's a couple things. Okay. So yes, I do prospect for leads. However, I'm not prospecting for leads on my social, if that makes sense. My social media is to connect with people who are already following me. And the reason why is because they are important to me. Okay. It's no different than like when you send your kid off to school and you're like, be nice to all of your friends. They're not going to school with the purpose of making new friends. Now, should they be kind to everyone? Yes, but that's beside the point. Okay. They're building the relationships that they already have established. That's what social media is. Now, is there a time when you should be fishing for new people to get on there? Yes, but it has to be intentional. So one of the things that I do is I think to myself, okay, I help agents generate more business, take more things off their plate, organize their database, stay in front of their sphere through their kvCore. Who are my ideal clients? People who are not doing that. So who are the people who are not doing that? The people who are having less production in my market. And I do it by calling them. There's that crazy thing that you're probably maybe even listening to this podcast on. Okay, it's in your hand. Pick it up. Don't send a text. I hate text messages. Okay. No, I've probably become my mom. It's like that commercial. How do you not become your parents? I don't care. I like my parents. They're cool. So I call those agents and I'm like, hey, you know what? We have never met, but one of the things that I love doing is helping other agents increase their production. Is that something that I could help you with? And usually they're blunt. They're like, oh, I don't have time for this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, look, this is not a sales call. I'm going to be doing a class. It's on this day. This is what I'm going to be covering. If you think it could benefit you, come. It's free because I do these free. Now, am I doing it free all the time? No. What am I doing? I'm establishing a relationship.
Yep.
Think back to when you went to school. It's not like you met the person at lunch and you're like, hey, we're going to be BFFs and we're going to go have sleepovers. No, you had to establish the relationship. And so what I do in business is I establish the relationship, I build the trust, because there's a lot of mistrust, especially in this industry, right? Can you really trust what they're saying? Are the spuds really for real? Like, I know they signed it, but like, is it? And so what you have to do is you have to make sure that you're putting yourself out there. Now, I tell people all the time, I don't know the answer to everything. I know what works for me. This may work for you. This may not work for you. A couple of the things I do are very specific to my niche. Okay. So like if I'm selling homes, which I've kind of put on the back burner just because there's so many other things that I'm working on right now, but my niche of like my ideal buyer and seller, they're in age restricted communities on golf courses. Why? Because they remind me of
the fact that you know that. I love that.
I know exactly who my clients are. I don't like investors because they're buying without emotion. And I am very emotional. So like when I see a house, I'm like, oh my gosh. My favorite thing to hear when I was doing first time home buyers was listening to their kids run through the house. This is going to be my room. No, this is my room. And then like they'd argue and the parents are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dude, I have 4. There is nothing that they can say or do that I have not seen. Oh, well, I don't know. My son, I'm like, my son would be outside right now peeing in the grass. Like, it's fine. It's so fine. But I think the reason why so many agents think they have to have so many leads is for status. Everyone wants to be the top of everything. You know what? You don't have to be the top of anything.
Just makes them feel good. Like that's what they're after.
But that totally should not though. If you help one person, okay, like let's say you have someone who has never owned a home in their entire life and you help walk them through home ownership and you hand them the keys, that should be a better feeling than closing your 50th transaction in like that quarter. I'm sorry, it just should. Because then you're in it for the money. You're in it for like to make yourself feel good. No, you should feel good because you're doing what you were called to do. And don't get me preachy on a Monday, but that's the bottom line. We are called to help people and to serve them, not to make ourselves, we're not supposed to be the idols. And I think that's the problem with so many people because it's competitive and it's cutthroat. Who has the nicest Tesla? Who drives this car? Who drives that car? Who has the prettiest signs? Who has more Botox on their forehead? And we all get into it. It's just how far, but it's not the leads. You could get 100 leads and you don't convert any of them. Why? Why didn't you convert a single one of those leads? Maybe because you're not thinking about the person, you're thinking about them as a paycheck.
Yep.
Which then ruins the image that they have of us. Dude, I am not selling Sunset, okay? I am wearing Adidas sweatpants. I have rainbow Crocs on and a t-shirt that is my daughter's from her volleyball tournament. But that's not why people hire me. People hire me because they value my commitment to helping them build their business.
I agree. I say if I can help one person every single day for 365 days of the year, that is 365 lives that I can change in 1 year. That is a lot of people. Imagine if every single day we went into what we do in our careers, whether you're selling homes, worrying about trying to do loans, or you're Jackie and I, right? Trying to sell a product or a service or ourselves as far as paying us to be on stage. If all we do is focus on one person a day, what an incredibly beautiful year we can say we've had, right? And for me, one of my bigger goals moving into 2023, I don't care if you're a God person or not, you don't need to be. My personal goal with this is to put more faith back into the workplace, specifically in our real estate and mortgage industries, because I think everything is so cutthroat. Everything is so much about who's done the most deals. I'm in the top 1% of my brokerage in the country. Like, I don't give a crap. Who are you as a person? And here's one of the things I'll say with that. You mentioned 50 transactions, right? Some people, that's their goal. Some people want to do 50 transactions every single year. And honestly, those people are badasses. They're doing a shit ton of business. Good for you. But the agent that and I'm going to use myself as an example because I think this is a really important story. The agent that sold me and my husband our house here where we live in Louisiana recently reached out to us because she saw that we're moving to Tennessee. And of course, why did she reach out to me? She saw that we posted that we're going to be moving. And what does she want? She wants the listing, right? And I straight up said to her, you're not getting my house. And of course she's like, well, can you explain to me like why and blah, blah, blah. Here was my answer to her. And as a business owner, I'm no bullshit. I don't have time for it. So here's what I'll say. And exactly what I said to her. I said, you have gotten to a place where you have taken the relationship out of your business. You are way too busy. You are way too focused on the next paycheck. And I called you to tell you I was moving here 37 weeks pregnant, knowing that I couldn't come here to come see this house, knowing that my husband couldn't come or leave me because I could have gone into labor at any day. We couldn't do that. And she never walked to the house for us, not one time. She had her 20-year-old assistant go do it on her behalf. And of course, I'm on FaceTime with the 20-year-old and I'm asking her questions. How does the floor look? What does the bathroom look like? All the things. What does the tile look like? Does it look like it's in good condition? Like the same questions that a buyer would ask. But what is a 20-year-old who's never done anything with it going to tell me? Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, I think it looks pretty nice. And so what is a 37-week pregnant lady going to say in that moment when we have no choice but to find a house? And at the time, there were 8 houses on the market in this city. 8 total.
Wow.
So you're not getting the listing because you don't give a shit about the people you actually help. And I said to her, I said, if you can go backwards, if you can focus on selling 20 houses a year and making those 20 people really feel heard and loved and seen and actually listen to them. I mean, hell, I could teach this woman a thing or two because there's not a single agent in this city that's using social media whatsoever, like at all. I could help you if you want it, but I don't really like you as a person because you treated me like shit. So putting the relationship back into it, and I love this tangent, not an intentional tangent, but a tangent nonetheless, of where is the relationship here, right? And I think that that's something that you've done really well. At least I feel that way about you. Because when I first reached out to you on Instagram, it was very much, hey, I have a couple of people that know you, and I just went and checked on all the things that you're doing. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're already following me. We need to talk. And it was this really fun, very organic relationship. But that's my question for you. If you can pivot to prospecting specifically on Instagram, which I know you don't intentionally necessarily do, but you do to some extent. I'm just curious as to like what that process looks like for you. Meaning, let's say you see somebody that likes something, somebody that starts following you, and you're like, man, that could be an ideal client for me. What does that initial message look like? Because I think a lot of people struggle there, right? They're like, thanks for following me. Here's this link, go buy it. And that's so wrong on so many levels.
That's horrible. So one of the things that I do, and the reason why is because my brokerage uses the CRM that I teach on. However, we're not the only brokerage that uses it. So one of the initial questions that I do, because obviously my ideal client is a real estate agent who, well, okay, this is going to sound horrible, but I'm just going to say it because I don't care. I don't want to know it all. That is not my ideal person. When I taught in school, I did not have the gifted and talented kids because I just didn't like them. They weren't very nice. And their parents were extremely intimidating, okay? Because they were very high achieving parenting styles. And that's the opposite of me. I'm like, dude, I just want my kids to be happy and be nice to people. That's it. I just want you to have joy in your life and be a kind person, okay? You're going to make mistakes. That's totally fine. So before I prospect anyone, I want to ensure that they're the type of person that I want to work with, okay? Again, I do not live in the land of scarcity. And I think as real estate agents, you need to pay very close attention to where you live on your mental real estate. Okay. What street are you living on right now? Are you living on Worry Boulevard? Because guess what? You're going to end up taking on clients that you do not want to take on. All right. If you are on Wish I Coulda, again, you're going to take on clients that are going to drive you crazy. However, if you are on Contentment Street, where you are content, or Trusting Boulevard, where you trust that things are going to work out the right way, then the right clients are going to be the people who match you. Now, my clients, my favorite ones, are people who just really, they're doing a little bit, but they need just a little bit of help. Or they could be people who know nothing, because like right now, so kvCore is used at EXP, but also Remax Realty has just started using it. And it's very easy for me to find an agent who's at my brokerage and me offer my services. No problem. When I go to an agent who's not at my brokerage, their immediate thing is, oh, she's trying to recruit me. No. Yeah. I'm a trainer, not a recruiter. Now, do I attract people? Yeah. But that's not what I'm trying to do. So sometimes when you're prospecting, you have to understand and be aware of what their opposition is going to be before they even give it. So when I start a conversation with someone who is, say, at a different brokerage, my first thing is, hey, I'm Jackie Durbin. I'm a real estate agent that helps other real estate agents master their kvCore. Is this something that I could help you with? And then I do ... And then I'm like, P.S. Please do not think I'm trying to recruit you to EXP. I know you love Remax. I know you love your balloon, and I love your balloon for you. All I want to do is help you with just maintaining and understanding this new CRM. And that's it. Now, is everybody going to like it? No. Some people are not going to answer me. Some people are just going to heart it, and then they're never going to tell me anything. And some people are going to reply to me. Get your pencil out right now, people. Write this down. You ready? Stop being attached to the damn outcome.
Expectation is the root of all suffering.
Oh my gosh. And comparison is the thief of joy. Who cares if they don't like you? Who cares if they don't call you? It doesn't matter. And guess what? If they have their phone number on there, call them. What am I going to say? Start with hello. Hello. I got your phone number from Instagram. We're friends on Instagram. How are you doing? I hope you're having an awesome day. Mm-hmm. Now, are some of the people not going to answer the phone? Yes. Don't leave a message. Maybe just shoot them a text. Okay. Hey, I was calling to talk to you about kvCore. If you get a chance, give me a call back later. That's it. Don't tell them like a whole damn story. Okay. And remember, text messages are supposed to be short. You should not be telling a whole story in a message. Send them a little bit. Hi, this is Jackie. We're friends on Instagram. I hope you're having an awesome day today. And then ask them a question. What's one thing that you like about, the content that I put out that you find helpful? Now I'm asking them a question. Hello, have you heard about stuff on social media? I'm pretty sure Michelle would tell you, you need a hook. You need to get their attention. You need to provide some value, and you need to include a call to action. If you're missing one of those three things, you're not going to get engagement. Think about it from this side, since we're talking to realtors, right? Your hook is all them damn signs that you put up for your open house, right? Your value is how the home is presented. And your call to action is when you ask them before they leave, what did you think of the home? It's the exact same thing. Quit trying to make it so dang complicated. It's not. Keep it simple, stupid. It's just connections. And you also have to keep in mind that if someone sends me a message, and if I've never seen this person, if I have never engaged with them, they've never left a comment, I've never seen their heart, I've never seen their little face going like when I'm doing a live or on my stories or whatever, and they send me a message, I'm going to be like, who is this person? What do? They go to your Instagram page and they look at everything that you've created. Now, if you're jumping around willy-nilly, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, then they see, oh, wow, she changes what she's doing every other day. Mm-hmm. The only thing you should change every other day is your underwear, or maybe every day. But the point is, people want to see consistency. So if you are starting to build content, whether it's, here's a tip for a new homeowner. Here's something you need to know if you're buying a home for the first time. Here is my partner lender who's going to tell you about, 3 things that you should know before buying your first home. If I go through your feed and I see 50 of those things, guess what I'm watching? Every single one of the videos. Has anybody ever had like a new follower, and then all of a sudden you see that they're a new follower, and then there's like 50 things that they liked and you get all these pings on your phone? You want that. And when someone does that, you need to reach out to them. Thank you so much for the follow. I like that you're liking my content. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Let people talk. They'll tell you what they need. Mm-hmm. That was a long answer. I need to know.
It's an amazing answer, and I could listen to it all day because it's so true. And I'm just sitting here like, I know most people are probably going to be listening to this, not necessarily watching it, but if you could see me, I'm like sitting here like this, shaking my head. I'm like, keep going, girl. Please do it. But no, for real, this is a question that I have in my brain, as even if we were off air, I would ask you this question. I have a client who's EXP, and I'm just going to use that because I know EXP uses kvCore. So I feel like this is a good example. I have a very good friend of mine who is licensed at EXP and also a client of ours. She has been for going on 2 years. And one of the things that her and I recently did was build her essentially a lead magnet through Instagram, so that everybody that comes through her Instagram platform ends up in her kvCore and goes down a drip. But long story short, for Jill, she's crushing it on Instagram, right? So she is literally growing like wildfire. She is a client of ours and pays us to do all of her like her initial touch point of engagement, which another conversation. But the beautiful thing about Jill is now when someone downloads the freebie, which is the link in her bio, they automatically get added to a custom drip in kvCore, so that when they have that, now Jill doesn't have to remember to email them every single day, right? It just does it for her because we've built those emails out. So this is something I'm really excited about hearing from your brain, because obviously you've mastered the kvCore side of things. What would you tell someone if they're prospecting heavily on Instagram? How can we make Instagram and kvCore talk to one another? What would you say to someone that's trying to do that?
Okay, so on Instagram, inside of your bio, you're only allowed one link. So that is very hard as a real estate agent, because you're like, but I got so much. Do I want them to go to my website? Do I want them to go get pre-approved with my lender? Do I want them to go to my calendar? So it's like, which one do I pick? Well, there's this awesome free app, okay, that I personally use. If you're a female, you're going to love it. If you're a guy, you're going to be like, oh, that's too girly. But it's called Milkshake.
Yep.
So Milkshake is very similar to Linktree. I just don't like the way that Linktree likes. I like Milkshake. But anyhow, inside of that, now you can take the things from your kvCore and add them in there. So you can have multiple pages on your Milkshake. Page 1, say, is for the buyers. Well, what do buyers need? Buyers need to get pre-approved. So now you put a link on there for them to be able to get their pre-qual from the lender to go ahead and start that application process. Buyers also like to look at houses. Where do they usually like? That place that starts with a Z. Okay. Now, I don't want them on that platform. And the reason why is because I have no way to see what they're looking at. I can't gauge them. I don't get to see like what time are they looking at homes, because everybody looks at homes different. Some people don't look at the homes until the kids are in bed. Awesome. I can call you during that time. Maybe people are looking at homes when they're at work. Hopefully not, but whatever they may. So then you call them during those times when they're available. That's the second link that you would put in there. Okay. Next page, sellers. What do sellers want to know? They want to know how much their house is worth. So within kvCore, you could put a link to a seller squeeze page. Now, Michelle was talking about these different drips. All of these things I'm talking about, you can add a trigger. The trigger is the way that kvCore says, hey, when do you want this to start? Do I want this to start whenever it's a new lead? Do I want it to start when it's attached to a different hashtag? So now, not only are people allowed to click on these various links now, instead of just the one that you have on the gram, but now they can click on those. And because they're already created into your kvCore, you can create those drips. So that's one way that I use it. You have to remember, people like videos, okay? And they would like to hear stories. The sales happens in the stories. So on your story on Instagram, you could do something like, hey, you know what? The market has been fluctuating in my market. Don't say that unless it's actually been fluctuating. But hey, you know what? As a homeowner, one of the things that I like to do each quarter is look at what the value of my home is. Now, I could go to, and I'll say you can go to Zillow, and that may be the thing that you feel most comfortable with. I just want to give you another option where you can compare what Zillow said and what my CMA says. If you want to know what your home value is, click this link here. Okay. Now, it used to be only the prestigious 10,000 follower people could put a link in their stories. Guess what? Instagram said, you know what? That's stupid. I'm going to let everybody. So when you add the link, you're going to put in the code for that seller squeeze, but then there's a little part under it where it has like a little plus, I think, and you can put in get your home value. So now they're not seeing kvCore, blah, 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 blah. Now they're seeing get your home value. Now what you're going to do is you're going to tag people. Tag a couple people that you know will actually share it. You don't have to have their tags up. You can tag them and then hide it. Now don't go around the little trash can, okay? Because if not, you're going to trash all your people. All right. And then call all those friends of yours and be like, hey, I just tagged you in my story. I need you to reshare it. And now you're casting a big net. Are you going to catch a lot of fish? I don't know. What was your cost? Oh, that's right. 0.
Yeah.
If you get one person who clicks on it, don't rely on just the campaign. Reach out to them.
Yep.
Hi, this is Jackie Durbin. I'm a local real estate agent. I saw that you clicked on the link to get your home value. What did you think about it? Well, it was really low. Okay, well, let me ask you a question if you don't mind. What did you anticipate your home to be valued at? Well, I thought it would be this much. Okay. Have you done anything since you have bought the home? Well, yeah, we put in a pool. We redid all the bathrooms and the kitchen. Well, then you know what? That is probably an inaccurate value. And the reason why is because that value is a computer-based analysis. And it has no idea what you redid. They're just looking about what's compared. So what other 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes that are on this size of a lot sold for? Well, guess what? Your neighbor, Jim, his house may be a dump. And your house is like a model home. So of course yours is going to be valued at more. Now, if you don't mind me asking, Bill, were you just doing this for shits and giggles, or are you thinking about selling? Well, I mean, if we could get a good amount of money, we might sell. Okay. Let me ask you this. Would you like me to come by? You don't have to sign anything. I'm not going to bother you. But that way I can give you my expertise opinion on what I think your home really truly could sell for. You don't talk dollars on the phone. That's like the first rule of sales. Do not bring up money until you're face to face, because that's all they hear. You have to build a relationship with them, especially if you're in real estate. They are selling their biggest prized possession, their huge investment. I don't know anybody who owns anything that costs more than a house. Nobody that I'm friends with. And guess what? If they're selling a house, that could be the home that they brought their children home in.
Yep.
That's emotional.
So much nostalgia involved in it.
I mean, they could be filing for divorce and they're really sad because now they have to give up the home that they built. Maybe the home that they're selling is not their home, it's their parents' home. And they just had to put their parents in assisted living. Guys, you have to think beyond a freaking paycheck. You have to really think like, wow, how can I service my clients? How can I give them the best service where they're going to walk away and say, you know what? My realtor was a really awesome person. And I know that he or she really cared about me and they made me feel special. You have to make your clients feel unique. You have to make them know that, guess what? I've got you. Because it's scary. We don't think it's scary because we help people buy and sell houses all the time. Dude, it's scary to buy and sell a house. If you buy this house, especially if you bought it when the market was so high, have you lost all your money? That's scary. If you had to refinance for whatever reason, or maybe you're thinking about buying a house right now, am I going to be able to make my payment? That's scary. I mean, we don't want buyers who are emotional, but we want them to have emotion. You have to be locked in on your client and you have to anticipate how they feel. Think of them like your children. Now, if you're not a parent, that's okay. We still like you, but it's like your kids, right? When your kids come home and they have a look on your face and you know that something is wrong, something happened. That's the type of sense that you have to have when you're working with clients. And that's how you get more referrals. And guess what? Then you don't need so damn many leads because you're going to have referral business out the wazoo. A past client will tell 7 to 10 people to use you, or they will tell 50 people that you're the worst person. So what do you want to be? Do you want to be the worst person or you want to be the best person? I'd rather be the best person.
Absolutely. There's so much gold here. And I love that you're both an agent and the vendor side because you've walked the walk there. It's so much more powerful. One thing, if I were to push back, what I would say is the more links you have, the lower the likelihood that anything is going to happen there. And that's just pure data, right? The more opportunities someone has to click, or the more opportunities that somebody has to be able to click one thing or this thing or that thing, the more diluted the message is. So here's what I would tell anybody, especially if they're trying to use Instagram as a lead generation tool, is the link in your bio should be one thing. Whatever that one thing is, pick it and love it and live in it, right? And you don't have to be married to it. You can change it eventually. But for me, my only call to action on my website is book a call everywhere. Anything you see the podcast episodes I've been on, book a call. You want to hire me to speak, book a call. You want to listen to my podcast, book a call. You want to learn about our services, book a call, which means that the only place that somebody can get a hold of me to ask any question is by scheduling a call. Why? Because I know that I can build a relationship on the phone with someone that's super genuine. So to Jackie's point, right? If you're listening to this, pick one and live in it. And know that the call to action there is really, really strong and make it synonymous. So anywhere I consume you, the call to action is the same. You will not only convert higher, but you'll have more intellectual is the wrong word, but intentional is the right word as far as conversations are concerned, right? So that's my loving pushback to you. But to be a good steward of your time, how can we get a hold of Jackie? And then also, what do you have coming up that somebody might be able to get dialed into?
Yeah. Okay. So first things first, the easiest way to get a hold of me is my Instagram. My Instagram is at Jackie Durbin AZ. I answer all of the direct messages in there. That's how you get a hold of me the best way. As far as things that are coming up, I am also the founder of Rewire, which is a retreat for women in real estate. Rewire got started because in education, teachers stick together. They want to help each other. They want to build up each other. They want to share everything that they do. And when I got into real estate, I was like, oh, this is going to be the same. All these women, we're going to have a girl tribe. No, that was not the mindset at all. And I was like, well, guess what? I'm going to buck this system real quick. And I did. Rewire is a 3-day retreat. The theme is everyone has a story to tell. Social media is social media, but guess what? It's not everything that has that, like that creates that person. Okay. That is not their entire being. That is a part of them that they're willing to show because it's something that doesn't make them feel super vulnerable. So what I do is I invite the biggest, baddest agents in those different areas, and I invite them to speak and tell their story. Tell me your story. Well, what story? I don't care. Tell me whatever you want to tell me. And what it does is it creates a community of people who can be like, wow, you're badass, but you're just like me and I'm just like you, which means whatever success you have is attainable to me. It doesn't seem like it's so off. Then it's everyone has a value to share. What are you amazing at? Do you know how to convert more for sale by owners than anybody else in the industry? Come teach everybody else how to do it. Do you know how to convert more expireds? Come and tell everybody how to do it. Do you know how to market a home that's overpriced? Do you know how to handle a client that maybe is a little rough around the edges? Whatever it is, whatever you're amazing at, come and teach people. And then the third day is my favorite day of the retreat. It's called Rewire Time. Everyone who's been to a conference, you go, you learn all this stuff, and then what happens? You go home and you go right back to your regular business. Not at Rewire. At Rewire, the very last day is implementation day. So all of the people who've been there and been a part of it, they help the agents get started. Let's say you're like, man, I don't know how to do social media. Okay, this is my value. And now I'm going to help you get started. Let's sit down, get your computer out, get your whatever, and let's go ahead and get started. And let me show you how to do that. So that's Rewire. And there is a Rewire that is in April. It's April 17th through the 19th in my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. We've rented an Airbnb. I think there's still 4 tickets that are available that include lodging if someone was traveling. But there are, I think, 30-ish tickets still available for people who just want to attend the retreat.
I love it. If there's anything I can share on it, please send it to me, because I know that there are a ton of women in my network who would die at the opportunity for that. But Jackie, thank you so much for your time and just for being who you are. Very authentic and honest. And that's how I live. You're the perfect person to have on here. I think we're going to have to do it again and keep going and keep diving down the wormholes of what we were able to do. If you enjoyed this episode, please go follow my guests on social media. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving us a review wherever you consume this content.